Many times during the course of history, we've encountered strange events that left us with more questions than answers. In this video, we count down 5 mysterious events. The Thunderbird is a cryptozoological creature associated with large bird-like animals that live anywhere in northern Canada and Alaska down to Central America. Similar animals often appear in Native American mythology. Some tales tell of enormous eagles strong enough to carry whales back to their nests. Since pioneers began moving west across the North American plains, sightings of large birds have been reported. Similar stories appear from civilizations around the world. Native tribes all across North America, especially along the Pacific coast and the Great Lakes area, have stories depicting enormous birds of prey. Some stories told that these birds were so large and powerful that when they flapped their wings, thunder was created. The tribes used thunderbirds to explain some of the things that happen naturally, such as storms and other forms of weather. Other stories said there was a thunderbird who battled an enormous killer whale. When the two beasts fought, they destroyed much of the land, knocking down trees and causing much destruction. Although dangerous and powerful beings, thunderbirds were also seen as nature spirits, and they sometimes assisted the tribes in their search for food during periods of famine. Sightings of large bird-like creatures have been reported for many years, at least since people began settling further west in the United States and Canada. One of the most famous reports is from 1890, where 2 Arizona cowboys claimed to have shot and killed a large bird. It was described as having no feathers and it had the head similar to that of an alligator. The 2 men supposedly dragged the bird back to their town. The report seems to suggest this creature looked more like a pterosaur or a dragon than any modern bird. These flying creatures are often associated with modern-day pterosaurs, which were thought to be extinct for millions of years. Yowie is a fanged humanoid marsupial, most likely a great ape featured in Aboriginal mythology. The Yowie is considered to be the Australian Bigfoot, and contains many primate-like features, possibly indicating that it's an undiscovered species of great ape or prehistoric human. The Yowie is described as being one of the most aggressive Sasquatch species, and has been reported tearing heads of kangaroos and dogs. It's even been seen attacking humans as well. The Yowie is described to be around 7 to 9 feet tall, with a large red mouth and talon-like claws according to Aboriginal legends. It's also noted that the Yowie contained 2 large fang-like canines, which distinguish the Yowie from other Bigfoot species. It usually has a brown or reddish fur. Like most Bigfoot species, it's theorized that the Yowie descends from an ancient ape called Gigantopithecus. While the Giganto-Bigfoot theory may be valid, it's highly unlikely that the Yowie descends from the same Asian ape, as creatures from Asia never made it to Australia due to sea depth, and vice versa, creatures from Australia never made it to Asia. This separation is marked by the Wallace Line. European contact with the Yowie is said to have begun with the arrival of the First Fleet in Sydney Cove in 1788. During the early colonial era, Aborigines often warned British settlers to be aware of an ape-like creature lurking in the rugged mountains and deep forests of the continent. One particular account, which reached London in a letter in 1820, told of an encounter in 1789 by convicts and a party of Marines while on a hunting trip. The men killed a bunch of wallabies and were turning to the settlement, when atop a nearby hill they saw an animal observing them among the trees, which they later claimed was twice the height of an ordinary man. The first southern sighting in Australia was reported on Phillip Island, Victoria in 1849. During this encounter, several people observed a creature, said to be between 6 to 7 feet tall, resembling a cross between a baboon and a man. At the time, the creature was said to be sitting near a lake when it was shot at. One of the stranger and more controversial sightings comes in the form of a photograph from 1936. It's one of a series of images taken by Rick Jones while working at an isolated loggers camp in Batslow, located in the snowy mountains of New South Wales. The image appears to show a large creature sitting with his hands in his lap, behind 2 men on a wooden log. Further analysis of the photo purportedly shows the head area resting near its chest looking down. This is due to tree-line matrixing. But what do you think the Yowie is? Let me know in the comments. It's estimated that from 1968 to 1971, At least 1 million Egyptians and numerous foreigners saw a luminous female figure atop the roof of St. Mary's Coptic Church in the suburb of Cairo. The apparitions most frequently occurred on feast days. Some lasted several minutes, but the longest went on for 9 hours. Many witnesses recall Mary holding an olive branch, a symbol of the peace that was so desperately needed in the Middle East. At one point, a crowd estimated at 250,000 was present during an apparition. In addition to Mary, many witnesses to these apparitions also report seeing luminous doves flying at night and bright colours flashing. Sometimes Mary was seen accompanied by St. Joseph, or cradling Jesus, who appeared to be about 12 years old. Interestingly, Mary said nothing during these encounters and chose to communicate through silence. Disturbed by the growing crowds, Egypt's authorities and police ordered an investigation of the unusual events. However, they could find no lighting, projectors, or any devices necessary to pull off such a hoax. A 15-mile radius of the church was searched, and they couldn't come up with any answers. Egyptian newspapers published numerous photos of the alleged apparitions, and Egyptian television broadcasted video footage. Whether you believe these sightings or not, you can't ignore the sheer volume of people that witnessed them. The Nightcrawler, also known as the Fresno alien, is a cryptid that's made 2 appearances so far, one in Fresno, California and the other in Yosemite National Park. In both sightings, it's only seen in video footage. It appears to be a relatively short creature, approximately 4 feet in height. It's an extremely thin white humanoid with no discernible arms. It also appears to be wearing a white gown or cloak of some sort. According to certain Native Americans in the surrounding area, the Nightcrawlers have existed on Earth for a considerable amount of time, and come from a planet consisting majorly of swampland. Their long legs are thought to help them maneuver through the boggy terrain. To these Native Americans, the Swamp World aliens are here on Earth to assist in the awakening, to rebuild the connection between man and nature and subsequently bring peace and harmony to the planet. The face appearances in Belmis began on August 23, 1971, when Maria Gomez claimed that a human face formed spontaneously on her concrete kitchen floor. Maria's husband Juan Piera and their son Miguel destroyed the image with a pickaxe, and a new concrete was laid down. However, the Piera story goes a new face formed on the floor. The mayor of Belmis was informed and forbid the destruction of the new face. Instead, the floor concrete was cut out and taken for study. Maria's home was advertised to the tourists as the House of the Faces. By Easter of 1972, hundreds of people were flocking to the house to see the faces. For the next 30 years, the Piera family claimed the faces continued to appear, both male and female of different shapes and sizes, and even showing different expressions. More and more faces continued to appear on the floor of Maria Piera's kitchen, attracting thousands of visitors every day. In time, she discovered the house was built around 1830, and apparently stood above a graveyard used by the Romans and medieval Christians. But did Maria just paint the faces herself? If so, she never benefited financially from all the attention. She lived a simple life in that same house, and eventually died in 2004. Claims suggest the faces were manifested on the floor by telekinesis. This notion was based on the claim that the expressions on their faces used to change with the mood of Maria Piera. Of course, scientists have found it possible to analyse the molecular changes in the whitewash, and prove that some fakery was involved. Many believe that the paintings were actually created by Maria's son, but because he hasn't admitted to this, it still remains a mystery. So that was 5 mysterious events. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more countdown videos.